Hello and welcome. You're watching Head to Head. I'm Carrie Oderman with UATV. The United Nations has published its first report of the Secretary-General António Guterres on the situation of human rights in the occupied Crimea. The report states that conditions in Crimea allow for abductions and detentions, as well as enforced disappearance, which is a violation of the right to life, liberty, and security. To discuss this, we welcome to our studio today Zakhar Tropin, Associate Professor, Department of International Law, Shevchenko National University. Thank you for being with us.
Hello.
This report is very important to Ukraine because it underscores things that Ukraine has been indicating to the international community for 5 years now. Let's talk first a little bit about what the report means and how it was conducted.
Yeah. The matter is that actually this report is outcome of very great quantity, at least 3 resolutions of General Assembly. There was resolutions of General Assembly in 16 year, in 17 year, and concerning the situation in Crimea and violation of human rights in Crimea. And this report is actually execution of resolution of General Assembly of United Nations of which were adopted in 18 year. In this resolution, there was statement by General Assembly of violation of human rights in Crimea, and actually adoption of this resolution by General Assembly, it was great victory of diplomacy of Ukraine. And this report is actually confirmation of those facts which are stated in these resolutions. In this resolution. Actually, this resolution of 18 year, it states these violations of human rights which are conducted in Crimea, and a proposal for the Secretary-General to make investigation and to make researches concerning the elimination by Russian Federation of these violations of human rights. And this report, in substance, states that actually Russian Federation haven't eliminated all those violations which were stated in resolution of 18 years. So actually it is confirmation that still there are violations of human rights in Crimea. Actually what is interesting in this report, it is fact by fact statement of violations of certain scope of certain rights. You stated about the forced disappearance, but it is only one right which were violated. There is also right for citizenship, violation of issues connected with right on citizenship, right for justice, right for life, security and freedom, freedom of speech, protection of rights of persons under arrest, also freedom of religion, freedom of thought, and freedom of peaceful meetings, violation of rights concerning the ethnical minorities and also of Ukrainian and Crim Tatarian and their national rights.
Is this report open to criticism? I ask because we've been reporting here at UATV that the UN said that they could only collect information remotely. They weren't even allowed into Crimea. So will Russia be able to dispute the foundation of this report?
Actually, the main position of Russian Federation on those type of documents, both on resolutions, investigation made by High Commissioner of United Nations on Human Rights and other, for example, of commissioners of Council of Europe on human rights. The main position, and also this, and I think that the same position will be on this report, it is disregarding of this report and disagreement with its substance, and that's all. Actually, the main problem of these documents is that they are not obligatory. The matter is that resolutions of General Assembly and also respectively report of Secretary-General, they are not obligatory for the international community. However, they have very serious moral impact and diplomatic impact concerning the position and actions of Russian Federation. And also, this report is actually strengthening of position of Ukraine, because now Ukraine can refer to this report by stating that actually there is a confirmation of violation of rights. So I think that that's the main problem with the adoption and execution of this report and of these documents.
Okay, in just a short time on September 23rd, at the 74th UN session, these findings will be presented.
Yeah.
What will be the reaction, and will Russia be able to present a counterargument?
Of course, it is possible. It is possible. So I think that it will be a speech of representative of Russian Federation, maybe even presentation by Russian Federation of some note. But again, the main substance of these issues will be disagreement with the facts mentioned in this report, and I don't know whether there will be substantial matters in this document or in these speeches, or whether it will be of general nature. But of course, Russian Federation can present this position, but it will be there will be no influence on the substance of this report. The report is adopted by Secretary-General, and it is actually it will be presented, I think, in form in which it is published on the site of United Nations.
The Secretary-General has been urging the Russian Federation to stop violations and to ensure access to UN human rights monitoring missions. This hasn't happened. As an expert and observer of international law, how strong have his statements been worded, and can he dial it up a little bit?
Yes, actually, the wording of these statements haven't changed, and they are rather strong. However, we are to understand that Secretary-General in this situation is in very hard position, because position of Russian Federation on this issue, position of United Nations and of Secretary-General is as follows. Crimea is part of Ukraine, which is occupied by Russian Federation, illegally occupied and annexed by Russian Federation, respectively. For the international community, Crimea is part of Ukraine. That's why mandate of monitoring mission, which is granted for Ukraine, has power also for the Crimea. But this is very serious contradiction with the position of Russian Federation, which is stating that Crimea is part of Russian Federation. And position of Russian Federation is stating that, okay, we have mandate for the observing of human rights on Russian Federation. And within this mandate, you can observe situation with human rights on Crimea.
This is all very theoretical. Can we break this down for a minute? So the international community, as you said, sees Crimea as still belonging to Ukraine. So Ukraine then gives the UN mission permission to go to Crimea.
Yes.
Do they then go to the border and document that they're not being allowed to proceed into the Crimean Peninsula?
Yes, because Russian Federation refused to visit territory of Crimea on reason that in accordance with the position of Russian Federation, mandate of this mission doesn't cover Crimea. Of course, this position is absolutely illegal and wrong from the perspectives of international law, because again, Crimea, in accordance with international law, is part of Ukraine.
Now, the public's attention span is getting shorter and shorter, and it's important to keep the Crimean issue in the public's focus. Will this report achieve that?
I think yes. I think yes. At least it is matter for discussion, and it is very loud matter for discussion, because it is actually a report of Secretary-General stating serious violations of human rights in Crimea. In in different spheres. And of course, it is up for Ukraine to keep the temperature of the discussion of the issues of Crimea on very high level, for the international community being seriously involved on this issue. Because actually the situation in Crimea is very rough and huge violation of international law.
That's all the time we have. Thank you very much for joining us again.
Thank you.
That was Zakhar Tropin, Associate Professor, Department of International Law, Taras Shevchenko National University. Thank you for watching the program, and stay tuned for more with UATV.